Good evening. Ira Epstein with your financial market wrap-up, and this wrap-up is for Wednesday, the 23rd of February, 2022, getting on to 6:15. All right, let's talk about the day's events because it's so important. The NATO members with the U.S., they're getting ready for the next tranche of sanctions. Why? Because it's inevitable what Putin's going to do. I know you're going to tell me I'm crazy. It's not inevitable. I've thought it's inevitable since he put 150,000 plus troops on the border. Some think it's 190,000, 20 warships that are still there in the Black Sea right off the coast. And you're going to tell me he did this to take a little bit of land where the separatists are in these two regions, and that's what he's after, and I say you're out of your mind. That's not what he's after. His game plan is just like Crimea. He sees what the West is willing to do. It's not enough, and he'll push till he doesn't have to push anymore. We will go after him with our sanctions, but we will not attack him. You will not get ground fighting in these regions from NATO, and that's what he saw last time, and that's what he's seeing this time, and he's on a land grab. In the Ukraine, I feel bad for the people, but they're getting ready for war. They have called up the reservists. Now the government websites were again attacked today. In the two breakaway regions, they have called for help from Russia. So the separatists there are saying there's genocide. They're getting overrun. They need Mother Russia to come in and rescue them. You might think this will go away. I'm of the other camp. The Minsk treaties are done and over with, according to President Biden. So there's nothing to hold the man back except the will of NATO, and it's not there except in support, not military support in terms of troops. Military arms, everything else, money, whatever they can do, but that could be overridden like that. You know that. Could the whole country be overridden? Believe me, the whole country can be overridden. 190,000 troops can do an awful lot of damage when you're fighting an army of 100,000. It's almost 2 to 1 with superior weapons and superior intelligence and superior everything else from an army that's just superior. That doesn't mean they won't fight valiantly. It doesn't mean that the country will lose all the pockets. But I'm no military man, but I read like mad, probably more than just about anybody out there that's watching this. And that's pretty much the scenarios that the brighter people are calling for. We hope for diplomacy, but you always hope for diplomacy. We had diplomacy going on Pearl Harbor in America. Weren't we meeting at that time with the ambassadors from Japan right as it went on? Come on. That's what diplomacy is. You're always trying to avoid it, but sometimes you can't. So what does it mean in the market? That's all I'm at, because my thoughts mean nothing. I'll probably be wrong on that, too. I'm the Swiss cheese guy. I think that for me, I would be telling my friends, and I started telling them this, every time we get something of this nature, if you look back at history, it offers fabulous opportunities for investors. Not for the people, but we're doing a financial video. We're not doing a people video here. I'm not CNN or Fox or any of the other. And if you look at it, you get your washouts because everybody goes into a panic mode that, you know, we're going to have nuclear war again, whatever it is. And by the way, speaking of that, Russia told Cuba today that on $2.3 billion of debt, you're our buddies, you don't have to pay it. Now, I wonder if they're sort of thinking, let's get closer. Maybe we can put missiles there again. I know you think I'm crazy. Well, you would have thought I was crazy when Kennedy was alive, and that's when it happened then, too. Anything is possible until you can bridle in this man who's going to take his muscles and flex them as much as he can and create mischief everywhere he can. But that's another story, and that's today. That's not me making it up again. I'm reading all this. So I take a look, and I told friends, I said, you know, there's got to be things you might want to buy. It could be the Apples, it could be Tesla at certain numbers, it could be GM, Ford. I don't know what you invest in. But rather than trade, you have to have your shopping list ready for investments, because when it all looks the worst is when you want to own it. How many companies were on the verge of bankruptcy, and had you bought them, they didn't go bankrupt? They came back. Now, obviously, if they restructure and wipe out the shareholder, that's not a good thing. But I don't think that's what we're looking at here. We're looking at a setback. We're not looking at the end of the U.S. economy. Point taken. Okay, so here's your big break. So now we're back into what, that 12, 13% decline from recent highs. You can see how the market came down. You and I were talking just recently. Would you be going for these lows? And you did. You're in a downtrend. You don't need my work to tell you that, but thank God it's on the right side of it. You had a bearish crossover today, and you're already making new lows. You got the 18-day average of close under the 200. So another crossover is taking place. We'll see if it has legs to it, but it's happening right at a Bollinger Band. Now, it's unusual if you get beyond 5 days under a Bollinger Band. You're nowhere near that. Today could be the third. That's about it if I'm right. Could it even be the third? I don't know if this day, no. Today could be the second at the most. So these are the kind of breaks where I'm trying to explain. You get things washing out, you pay attention to them. Momentum is not embedded. So you have a market that's going into the thralls of hell. Everything's coming apart. The newscasters, watch out, this market's picking up momentum. The Fed's around the corner. There's more interest rates coming. We're waking up. We don't know what to do. It appears the U.S. might get dragged into. Are you getting all the blah, blah, blahs? Okay. So that's what you're dealing with right here. In the NASDAQ, it's the same thing. Today it might be the second day under the band. I think professional money was covering on the first challenge of this. Their positions. That doesn't mean that they won't be sorry they did it, but that's still what I think they did. In the Dow, you have 2 days under, so tomorrow could be the third. 5, as I said, is pushing the extreme, and the Russell finally got thrown back from its upper Bollinger Band right here back to the lower. Okay, we expected that. It still acted as the strongest up until all around it. Everything's collapsing in stock indices. It's not going to stay up. I get it. The VIX, right back to the upper Bollinger Band. Okay, overbought, but they're in an uptrend. So we're at support zones in stocks. We're at resistance zones in the Bollinger Band on the top here. And Bollinger Bands don't care about market news. When you look at them and you go back on a chart, you say, why did that happen? It's rare that you go in and say, oh, that was that invasion, or that was Crimea. No, no, no. That was 2008 and 9. That was when this happened. Come on. That's the resistance point. That's how I look at it. The 30-year bond, lower low, higher high. Well, will there be some buying on the first day of the invasion? I'm assuming there's an invasion. Remember, I'm the Swiss cheese guy. You can tell me I'm wrong later. And there will be people that write me on YouTube and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. And I agree with you. So you look at it right through here, that's what I'm expecting. This is such a torn market. It's torn between, do I start playing what the Fed's going to do, or do I play, oh, we got to go into a safety mode because this thing can get out of control in the Ukraine. It's torn. That's what you have in the 10-year note. They're not trending. The dollar index needs to get over the highs of Tuesday, not today, 56.25. But even then, the upper Bollinger Band is the nearby target, and you'll be overbought the moment you get there. You're at 71 reading already. The euro, I apparently did wrong because in looking at it tonight, you're trying to come under. This day, I had told my clientele to go short. And I watched the market after they got short coming down, and it didn't go anywhere. And all of a sudden, we got a higher close. Because of the settlement time and where the market comes in at the end of the day, I could issue special updates. You close these markets. Some of them close 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but they trade until 4. So you know where the settlement is. You know you have an outside day up in this case. I don't want to be shorting an outside day up. Take out the lows of an outside day up, and I get pretty interested. Then I think you're going back down here to wherever the closest Bollinger Band or moving averages. All the key averages are above the market right now. So I told my traders, and I don't mind saying that, I've got it in writing, so blah, blah, to take this small of a profit. Thank God it was a profit, not a loss. Could have easily been a loss right through there. And in my writings, I am sidelined, and so far I'm pretty happy with that. But the trend is to the downside. So if you'd ask me who's got the edge going into this, absolutely the bears, but you're oversold into that downtrend. It's a rough one. These markets are not easy. In the British pound, the trend is still to the upside. In fact, it stays that way until this low is taken out. So as I said yesterday, you're starting to come down and challenge key moving averages. And that's what you did today, and that's what you're trying to do tomorrow. Do I think there'll be buyers here? Normally, I'd say yes, but you have pretty big divergence. You're coming down here, you're there, and the market is nervous. It's nervous about the Ukraine, so things are backing off in the market. I get it. It's a hard time to trade. The difference between Brent and WTI, well, you know why this happened. Our oil is relatively stable, except for President Biden's crazy ideas. Thank God we are selling a bunch of oil rights off New York and New Jersey. There's a three-day auction for wind rights. But again, he is stopping drilling right now. Today, they are again thwarting us drilling for more oil. We need energy dependence. We need to be green. We need energy dependence. And with these policies, you will not get big oil to start plugging holes in the ground. They'll plug them. They won't drill them. All right? Because they have no faith that this administration has got a good energy policy. And I'll leave it at that. That's basically what it is. If I'm wrong, at $100 oil, why aren't they out there from fence post to fence post drilling? You think about that. When we come to the Brent, lower low, higher high, and now you're trying to establish finally that uptrend. But this is why Bollinger Bands are so important. The bias has been up in this market all this time that you have been over the 18-day average. It goes into 2021. You heard what I just said. 2021 was the last time, December, that you were under the 18-day average, which means if you use my simple technique, that when you're over the 18-day average, you're looking for buy signals. Any sell signal you have is negated because of it. I'm talking for the duration of a trade. That's it. So the sell signals over this have been ones that have come in and they carry you down to that number, but that's where the support keeps showing up. And that's what you got to look at as to what's going on in it. I'm giving you the simplicity of how I teach this. Well, the same thing is going on in our WTI crude. I think the pros took money off the table in the heating oil, the natural gas, not the natural gas, heating oil, gasoline, and all the crudes at the upper Bollinger Band the other day. You are still in overbought territory. Any readings over 70 is overbought. The reason I backtracked on natural gas is I know you didn't get up to that band. The trend is up. The bias is up until the market steps through this low, way back here now, which is $4.3060, $4.36. I look for the market to continue on a road to the upside. Maybe you can get back into the $5 range. Support right here at the 440.20 area. So it's an interesting time. And in these times, that's what I want to be, the guy you look at for chart ideas. And it's no good during the market. So what I do is at 5:30 in the morning, I'm there and I'm recording. And I start in the futures because your spider ETF trades and stock trades, they're yet to come. At 8:30 in the morning is when the stock market opens. By 9 approximately, I'm recording on those. So I want you to wake up. What is Ira thinking in the markets? First, what's the events last night? So I'm talking about it. This is what happened. Here's the reports coming out today. Here's what we're now seeing in these setups on that, and where do you go with it? So technical analysis, absolutely a touch of fundamentals, but then you want the specific. Buy here, sell there, and here is why on the chart. Not because Ira said so, but here is why. So I will cover all these markets. There'll be a scroll bar on our website video. Let's assume you want to go right to grains. You like wheat. Russia's liable to have the wheat exports there barred. Okay, that sends Chicago wheat up for what price? You scroll over, wheat will light right up for you. Okay, it's wherever you want to go. Each video's typically 18 to 20 minutes in this. Then the ETFs, same amount of time. I'm going to cover 40 charts, but it's not just ETFs and spiders. We rotate. We cover Disney. We cover Tesla. We cover so many different stocks. We rotate them all the time so that you're getting the pictures there as to what to do. But it's not just the daily charts. Now we start talking as well the longer term charts. Because on Saturdays, typically, I am recording for you and just using weekly charts for the bigger chart picture. There's a lot of my subscribers that want the big picture. They're not interested in the trades in and out. How do you find out more about this? You go to our website, and in the website, you go right on up to the word research. It's there. While you're there, you might want to go take a look also at our education area. Take a look at that enhanced Bollinger Band course. It is something you want, and I have a new one coming out on Outside Days, which I think will open up your eyes in a way you've never seen that either. I'm Ira Epstein. I appreciate you watching. I hope you like some of the new stuff that we keep covering. You take care.